Okay, so let's look at page 2, which is a summary for why is it that some cities are having problems, or why is it that they are not so sustainable. Okay, well, challenge basically means problems lah. Okay, so there's two main challenges: environmental pollution and competition for natural resources. Okay, so what do we mean by less sustainable? Less sustainable means it will not last into the future. Okay, which this is what, so sustainable means can last in the future. Not sustainable means cannot last in the future. Okay, so why is it not sustainable? Mainly because less people want to stay in the city. Okay, so if a city has nobody, then the city cannot last, isn't it? So why is it that people don't want to stay in the city? The main reason is because the quality of life is poor. Okay, these challenges will actually reduce the quality of life for the residents. Okay, so how does it lead to problems? Well, for this side on the right, competition with natural resources, it will prevent residents from meeting their needs. So if you can't meet their needs, like for example, I want to study certain things, or I want to be able to buy certain things, or I want to be able to do certain things like go out, run in the park. If the city can't meet my needs, my living condition will decrease, isn't it? Okay? Then for this column, environmental pollution, why does it reduce quality of life? Because mainly it will cause health problems for the residents. Okay? If you're always sick, that's not a good life condition, isn't it? Okay? So what is it that cities that will lead to some of these problems? All right? Remember your four features of a city: huge population size, population density, high population density, huge range, and wide range of functions, and also the mainly built up area. Okay, so some of these features actually lead to these problems. For example, city have huge population size. Okay, population size. Okay, what's the problem with having a huge population size? Well, if you have a lot of people, you will produce a lot of waste. And then if the waste is not disposed properly, it will leak into the water and pollute the water. All right. And then also, when you have a lot of people, the city needs to generate a lot of electricity so that everyone can watch their TV, can turn on their computer, have their lights, have the stove, everything. Okay, so how does city generate electricity? Most of them actually use fossil fuels. So fossil fuels is the term to refer to things like oil. Okay, so basically these are resources that is digged out from that's made from decomposed parts of ancient animals and plants. Okay, so a lot of times these fossil fuels contain a lot of pollutants and carbon dioxide when you burn them. Okay, so if a city needs more electricity, needs more energy, and there's a lot more vehicles, then the city needs to burn a lot of fossil fuel, which create pollutions in the air and leads to health problems. Okay, what else? Remember, we said that cities have a range of functions, and one of the functions is industries. Okay, so industries, what would the industries do? Some cities, the industries, they don't process their waste, they just dump it into the waters, or they will just pollute the air. Okay, and then they will also, and the factories are also responsible for burning fossil fuels, which even release even more air pollutants. Okay, so this is the reason why cities, the characteristic of cities, can easily lead to this problem of environmental pollution, which makes it less sustainable. Okay, what's the other problem? Main problem is competition for natural resources. So same thing, cities often have huge population size. Let me just change the formatting a bit. Okay, huge population size, which means, and it's also growing rapidly. And of course, city have a wide range of functions. So a city has a lot more people growing rapidly, and it has to serve a lot of different needs. But a city can only be so big, there's limited land. Okay, so how? In the end, these different functions have to compete for land. Okay, so for example, a piece of land, should I give it to housing so that more people can get safe housing, or should I give it for industry so that more people can get jobs? Okay, so because there's always this fighting, sometimes some groups their needs are not met at all. Okay, because there's not enough land for everyone. Alright, so for example, some people in Hong Kong has very limited land space, okay, because it's mostly hills and mountains. It's not so suitable to build houses and buildings. Okay, so as a result, in Hong Kong, the housing has to be very small. The flat size is very small. The room size is very small, so that more people can get housing. There can also be land to meet different needs. Okay, but as a result, some people are not living in good housing condition. Their needs are not met, and they don't like to stay in the city anymore. Okay, what else? Well, there's also the issue of water resources. Okay, when a city has huge population size and it grow rapidly, and there's also a wide range of function, it means that more and more things in the city, more and more people in the city are wanting water to meet their needs. Okay, for example, factories need the water to cool the machines or to make products like what you learned last year. But humans definitely need the water to drink, okay, and to do the washing and stuff like that. Alright, so because there's more demand and limited supply, what happens is that sometimes you may not be able to meet the needs at all. Okay, and as a result, some cities cannot provide water to all at all times. Okay, so as a result, some people don't meet their needs, and of course, the quality of life will drop. And as a result, less people want to stay there, and the city will not last into the future. Okay, so I hope you better appreciate that the features. So we learned the features previously in the previous practice, right? Okay, so you can see that some of these features actually cause problems for cities. All right, and cities need to find means and ways to deal with these problems, like the one that I've talked about in page 1, so that it will last into the future. Okay, if not, cities cannot last and it will collapse. Nobody will live there anymore, and the city will be gone forever. Okay, so I hope you have a greater idea of the content, and please use them to answer your homework questions.